You are about to witness bodily dismemberment, sub-zero temperatures, and all-out mayhem. Brought to you by the Frontline Network.
Sup, CUH fans, and welcome to the 6th Company of Hero 2 beta cast, brought to you by the Frontline Network, presented by me, FatalSaint, and my good friend Tommy. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, FatalSaint? I am really excited to do this cast here today because unlike all our previous beta casts that we've done up until now, which have involved a fair amount of frozen troops and snow and blizzards and ice, this one is actually on Pripyat River, which is a map that actually has none of that cold tech. It's a lot more like the original game in that respect, and it's all sunny. It's a spring map.
Yeah, it's a spring map or a summer map or whatever you want to call it. There's no snow, no blizzards, no timed events like that. It's just like the original VCO series games where you don't have any form of events like that happening during the game. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these two great players actually play out on this map. And we do have on the Soviet side, we do have GuruSkippy, which I am following. And who are you following, Tommy?
I'm following the austere player who is SunAngel down here on the right.
Yeah, we'd actually had him featured on, I do believe, our previous cast where he played together with Marcus against Bjarki and Barton. So it's going to be, but he actually played the Soviets that time. So this time he's taken on the austere side of things. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays that faction. You ready to go, Tommy?
I'm ready.
At the 5-second mark, unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Now, we have this one pioneer start. We've seen this quite a few times. Like, we were discussing this the other day, that a lot of people in the original game in VCO would almost always go for the 2 pioneer start. It was quite standard. But because of the way that prices are currently in the beta, it's not really economical to actually go for more than 1 pioneer. It is generally better to stick down the infantry company straight away, because these pioneers actually lose out quite handily to combat engineers. So the quicker you can get some real combat troops on the field, the better.
Yeah, you need something to fight off, especially since the Russians have conscripts in their tier 0. You can build them directly from the HQ without even taking or building any form of base buildings. You can get this mainline infantry force, the conscripts, even though they are weak compared to the German infantry, they are larger squad sized, and you can get them from the tier 0 building instead of getting a tier 1 building up and then start producing mainline infantry. You can get conscripts straight off the bat from your HQ. So you really need, the only reason I really build, I try to mix in a second pioneer squad when I play as the Germans, because I want 2 flamethrowers, because, you know, teaming them up, double flamethrowers, 1 flamethrower is fairly lethal on its own, but 2 flamethrowers together, they can really rip everything to shreds, especially when it comes to weaker squads like conscripts.
Yeah, there's very little that lots of flamethrowers can't solve currently in this game.
They solve a lot of stuff.
Are just so powerful, but they've actually been changed a little bit from the way that they worked in the original game. For one thing, they actually do the same damage versus all different types of cover, although they do bonus damage against buildings. So their primary use is for actually clearing buildings, but they are, as we've seen in previous casts, still very, very potent when it comes to just fighting infantry out in the open. One of the other interesting things about flamethrowers is that along with a whole host of other weapons, they are now fully droppable, and droppable flamethrowers can create the potential for some real death squads.
Yeah, especially when you start picking it up on Russian elite infantry, it becomes almost sometimes pretty unstoppable to counter with the infantry of your own. You really need some form of vehicle to get them off the map, because if you try to fight elite infantry with maybe grenadiers, for example, that are also equipped not only with maybe PPSHs like the shock troops, and then they stick a flamethrower or pick up a flamethrower on that same squad, it does become, as you say, quite a bit of a nightmare to actually fight that infantry with your infantry of your own. So yeah, you gotta pay attention when you lose your flamer squads in the early game or in the mid game, so that you don't give it away to your opponents. You try to fish that flamethrower off the ground as soon as possible before you start giving it away to elite infantry, because then it just becomes like an unstoppable force almost when it comes to infantry versus infantry battles.
We have our first engagement down here in the south. It's a Grenadier versus a Combat Engineer. The Combat Engineers not horrible in combat, as their name would suggest, but not a patch on a Grenadier squad. And these conscripts also, they tend to lose out to a Grenadier squad unless they can get into close range like this. They might actually have the advantage because they have the green cover here.
At the same time in the north, we have a Pio squad and another Grenadier squad from SunAngel fighting off the first conscript squad from GuruSkippy. He actually sent it all the way up north and cut off the fuel, and now he's actually decapped the fuel as well. So it looks like Guru has a set plan in mind. What he wants to do, he wants to deny the German player of any form of fuel income, at least the heavy fuel income that you get from these specific fuel points, because you, as compared to Vico, you now also get munitions and fuel just from normal strategic points, a very small amount compared to the specified fuel points which are on most maps. There's usually, you know, the 2 fuel points or something like that that everybody's fighting over, because you want that a little bit of extra fuel income boost so you can keep teching, and most likely, hopefully, you can actually even out-tech your opponent. That's what it really goes to.
And here in the south, we had a real dance of infantry squads, and we had the first Grenadier squad gain his first stripe of veterancy very quickly, and he used the ability that you get at Vet 1 to actually pop Mark Target on the conscript squad, which allowed a one-man squad to actually kill 3 conscripts all on his own. It's now 1 conscript versus 1 Grenadier.
On each side of the truck, firing at each other.
It's just
no
who's going to get the killing shot. Ah, the Grenadier. It's like a game of chicken. Who's gonna blink first?
That was a real game of chicken, actually. No one really wanted to retreat. Both guys down to 1 man each on their 2 squads. You know, usually when you see in Vico, when that happens, at 1 man, everybody insta retreats, because you don't want to lose an entire squad, because that's really bad. Especially when you're playing as the Americans, for example, in Vico, you want to preserve all of the veterancy, because after a while, when you start vetting your rifles up, they become very potent anti-infantry force. And it's kind of the same in Company of Heroes too. The veterancy works a little bit differently, but fairly similar to the American veterancy system in Vico, where you actually get veterancy for kills. In Company of Heroes 2, you get it for dealing, taking, damage. That's how you get veterancy in Company of Heroes 2. So you want to keep your squads alive so you can keep vetting them up.
Now we have our first doctrine choice from the austere player. Now this is a doctrine I haven't even unlocked myself, so it's quite new to me. The first doctrine ability that he gets here is the cargo truck, the blitz truck. So over 200 manpower, he can actually send out a free sort of observation post to plop down on any resource point to actually increase the resource income from that point. He's actually put it down on this strategic point, and that strategic point is now actually giving him +3 fuel and +5 munitions instead of the usual, which is +3 fuel and +5 munitions. So he's not actually getting any benefit from that, I don't think.
No, you actually get you get a small amount of resources from the truck on a timed duration, basically. That's how it works. So after a while, that truck will net you a couple of fuel and a couple of munitions, basically.
Ah, I see. He actually,
it takes a while
he got
for it
2
to like
blitz
load up.
trucks, in fact. He got 2 blitz
two of
trucks.
them.
He's locked down 2 sectors.
Wow, that's interesting. Really interesting. You know, they do cost, I think, 200 manpower for 1 truck. So that's basically almost potentially 2 squads that he invested in those blitz trucks to get more resources instead. We do have 18 aids from the
first 18 aid, yeah.
Thrown in the center. We did actually have a rifle grenade used as well on those LMG grens from SunAngel on the conscript after they got suppressed by the MG. The MG, however, did get sniped out and is now uncrewed in the center, and he got another 18 aid off on that German half-track, forcing it to backpedal as well.
Down here in the south, it's another battle around this around this truck here. This truck has seen more fighting in the last few minutes than it's combat engineers versus pioneers, but I think the combat engineers should be able to edge this one out. Yeah, taking down the pioneer down to 1 health down there. Up in the north. Oh, that was a nice rifle grenade, but actually it did very little.
Ooh, he's trying to reinforce from the half-track with that Grenadier squad, but he is down to 1 man due to the double sniper team now out from GuruSkippy. He also has chosen a doctrine, which I actually haven't unlocked. I do believe it's the next unlock I have to go in Company of Heroes 2 for the Soviets, and his first doctrinal unlock is a radio intercept, which basically shows you the enemy build actions, global upgrades, and unit deployments are displayed in an event queue. So it's kind of, I think, like that the radio thing for the commandos.
Ah,
British
from the
doctrine.
British doctrine, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Similar to that,
Ooh,
at least.
double snipers opening up on the Grenadier squad.
Oh, rifle nade. Oh, that was pretty scary for those two snipers. They actually lose one man each to this Grenadier squad, netting them vet 2. We do have a conscript squad coming out to reinforce those retreating sniper forces off those the two-man vet 2 Grenadier squad from SunAngel. That's quite a fast vet 2 on a Grenadier squad at 8.5 minutes. Vet 2 already.
Probably because they're being sniped all the time, gaining veterancy for it. And wow, look at those double flamers opening up. The conscript just gets torched, and that half track, it's in dire need of repairs, but these half tracks are proving themselves in our games when we've been playing to be very, very dangerous. You've really got to watch out for the flamer half tracks because they have a lot of survivability, and before the recent patch that came in, they were actually more survivable to small arms fire than like the light armored car and stuff like that. They had a lot of armor.
Yeah, they did actually have quite a lot of armor, and they are very durable. And right now, SunAngel is repairing that half track as it sorely needs to be repaired, especially since it's invested. I think it is 120 munitions or something for the Flammenwerfer upgrade on a half track. So it is fairly pricey when it comes to munitions. You really want to keep it alive as long as possible. The only real threat it has is when, if the Soviet goes for something like tier 2 and gets an AT gun, then they take quite a lot of damage from that, compared, especially if you combine it with AT nades to slow down the engine on them and give them a damaged engine. They can't really retreat away from a nicely placed AT gun. At the same time, also, obviously, when the Soviets themselves gets any form of vehicles like T-70s or T-34s, you really got to pay attention to your half track so it doesn't get caught out somewhere against another vehicle, because it is basically all anti-infantry capabilities on that Flammenwerfer half track. It can't fight off enemy vehicles.
Double sniper teams opening up on this Grenadier squad here. He just manages to get out of the line of fire, but these double snipers, very nasty units. I mean, he's got to be careful. He's keeping his infantry sort of off the main line, and now here comes the flamer half track. Actually, I don't think there's any real AT besides just still more AT nades, so this could prove to be very dangerous indeed.
It's a very risky decision for SunAngel now. He doesn't know if the Soviet player has kept ticking or if he only still has tier 1 in his base, but he does actually have his first T-34 on the field right now, and I do believe he's going to attempt to try an AT nade on it. There it goes, and the Pioneers are on the other side of the bridge, so this T-34 might have a nice chance of taking out this German armor, the German light vehicle, the half track. Here comes the T-34 now.
This is going to put a spanner in the works. Like, he's probably going to lose that half track. He does throw a Faust of his own with the Grenadier squad nearby, but I don't think it's going to slow down the T-34 sufficiently.
Especially not as the half track itself has a damage engine as well, so both of the tanks are much slower than they should be due to the Faust and the AT nade. There it goes.
Well, that's a big loss for him. It did do a lot of work before it went down, but even so, it would have been nice to keep it alive. Second Faustin goes in on the T-34, but still not doing a whole lot of damage, but he did give it that damage engine critical, which is going to slow it down in the face of any proper AT. Speaking of proper AT, there's still, well, no real proper AT, although Tier 3 has been teched. Battle Phase 3 has been teched, so he could actually start building that and start moving into stokes and things like that. Instead, what he's doing, he's building a bunker in his base, which he's probably going to turn into a medic bunker, because that's how you actually get healing as a Wehrmacht player.
Yeah, you have 3 choices when it comes to bunkers. On the Oster side, you can get MG bunkers, you can get that medic station, or you can get a forward reinforcement point. But we do have some AT now here. The Panzer Grenadier squad out from SunAngel with the double Shrek upgrade. They changed that in the recent patch, so you now get 2 Shreks for 120 munitions instead of getting 1 Shrek for 75 each. But you also have to obviously sacrifice the anti-infantry capabilities on the Panzer Grenadier squad, as 2 of the weapon slots are taken by the Panzer Shreks, so you only got the 2 STG-44s compared to 4 or 3 if before the patch you could get the single Shrek only, and you still had 3 anti-infantry weapons.
And here in the south, it's Grenadiers versus Conscripts, and the Conscripts getting absolutely torn up here by this light LMG, especially with the marked target.
I think that's marked target, yeah.
Yeah. Although the sniper team, this could be dangerous. There goes a nice rifle nade, does good damage. Actually gives them veterancy to the Conscript squad.
I believe he saw those snipers coming up on the flank, so that forced an instant retreat, especially since he saw a second conscript squad coming for GuruSkippy to reinforce the first one. He actually used Ura ability to get to the front line quicker to reinforce his first conscript squad, and we do have a triple cap on the VP now. Oh, he gets one retreat.
Yeah,
we do have a triple cap on the VP for quite a while, and he's actually capping with his snipers right now on this right-hand side after forcing off that Grenadier squad.
The support armor corps is now up. That's the tier 3 building, so we could be seeing Stugs, Panzer IVs, or Oswins coming out now from the Ostier player, so that could be a lot of fun. I guess against the T-34, his best bet would be a Stug. Play it nice and safe. Stugs counter T-34s very, very well because they outrange them. They really tend to bounce pretty much all the time, and Stugs do good damage to T-34s, so that would probably be a safe way to go. But actually, he is deciding instead to go for a Panzer IV and get a main battle tank.
Interesting. The Panther IV is fairly pricey at 120 fuel, I think it is, and 400 plus manpower. So we do have a T-70 out from the Soviet player, actually, and the T-34 is actually being repaired. It is fully repaired now, so 2 vehicles for the Soviet player. Especially combined with these snipers now, he can get rid of the anti-infantry or the infantry squads from the German player, especially if he focuses down on the Panzer Grenadiers, which is this main form of AT right now, those 2 Panzer Streks on the Panzer Grenadier squad. If he snipes those 2 guys, he is basically forced to retreat due to there being 2 snipers, obviously. He would lose the entire squad in 1 shot each from those 2 squads. So, yeah, that's exactly what he's doing now. He's sniping away on that Panzer Grenadier squad. He's going to force him to backpedal, maybe even retreat so he can reinforce, as that half-track got destroyed by the T-34 before. He can't really reinforce on the front line anymore.
Oh, look at that nice sweeper usage here. He saw the AT mine that was placed, and he's going to go in and sweep that up now, because although it's an AT mine, it can be set off by infantry, and it will do a lot of damage if it is.
The T-34 is there to guard. I do believe he is reaching for his Panzerfausts. One of them goes off, actually damaging the engine, but very nicely macro from GuruSkippy away for that. He did still get hit by the Panzer Schreck, but at least he is away from the main danger zone right now. The Panzer IV is out for SunAngel, the German player now, and here comes the T-70 to force off these Grenadiers just on the south side of the bridge.
Don't know what he's trying to do. Is he trying to double Faust that T-70? Ooh,
yep.
He is down to half health already. That thing is lightly armored. Here comes double Shreks, but I don't think he wants to play too dangerously now. 1 hit could be the end of him.
Yeah, I think these Panzer IV should be able to tango with these 2 Russian tanks, especially if he focuses down the T-70 first, taking that out with the damage engine on it as well. It's not really capable of circle strafing this P4 right now to get in on the rear armor on the P4. The P4 takes out the T-70, so now it's T-34 against 2 Panzer Shreks and a Panzer IV at the same time. This T-34 is now trying to backpedal away. The driver actually gets a temporary critical from getting shot by the Panzer IV, and he's basically stuck on the road with a destroyed engine and no main gun.
Down goes T-34. There's a combination of Shreks and Panzer IV. Down here in the south, we had an engagement between the Grenadier squad and a Vet 2 conscript, but the Grenadiers were victorious at the end of that, stealing that VP once again. Really nice VP pressure here by SunAngel. He's really put the pressure on GuruSkippy down to 262 VPs, and he's about to put in another triple cap.
Yeah, the triple capping of the VPs can be extremely devastating. It goes so quickly if you're not paying attention to them and you're fighting over resource points instead for 5 minutes or so. All of a sudden you've drained 100 VPs, and that could basically mean the end of the game for you, as if you're not paying attention closely. We do have another T-34 now, but this might not be enough to tango with the double Shreks and the P4 now. I think the Soviet player needs to add more elements to his army right now so he can effectively combat all of the combined forces from the German player SunAngel right now.
It is tough though. Once your army starts getting very big, the upkeep really begins to bite you, and getting a kind of very big combined arms force takes quite a lot of time. But I agree, he could definitely do with some AT guns or something along those lines.
Yes, something to add to his AT capabilities, because he's got the T-34, but against the Panzer IV, it's barely even matched. And at the same time, the German player has 2 Panzer Shreks as well on top of that, while he only has AT nades. And obviously the Grenadiers from the German player also has Panzerfausts, so they basically cancel each other out. So when it comes to AT capabilities, I believe that the German player is on top right now.
Grenadiers getting chased away by a T-34 down here in the south. They were trying to get off Panzerfaust, but I don't think he fancied running into the jaws of the waiting tank.
He's actually backpedaling away instead of retreating completely, so he's going to go try and decap that strategic point, denying a little bit of resources for the Soviet player GuruSkippy. At the same time, he is doing the same thing. He actually grabbed the top VP. It is now getting reclaimed by the German player, but at the same time, he has grabbed that fuel up there and cutting that off for SunAngel.
The Tiger has now been unlocked from the Tier 4 building, so if SunAngel decides to build that Tier 4 building, he will have access to the biggest and strongest tank in the game. It is a heck of a beast, and so far we haven't really seen it in action too much. We saw it briefly in the Aim Strong versus Inverse game, our first beta cast.
Very briefly.
Yeah, it didn't last very long before the game was actually over, so hopefully this time we'll get to see him in the fight.
Yeah, we did actually, I just witnessed that radio intercept doctrine ability from the Soviet player. It said on the left-hand side of my screen, I got an event up that said that Tier 4 was teched for the German player. So it's basically just as in VCO, the commando doctrinal ability, where you can see what your opponent's doing all the time. Considering there's, compared to VCO, there's not really any recon vehicles. I know the T-70 can get an ability to basically extend their line of sight.
He's gonna roll over it. No, he manages to dodge an AT mine that was laid for him there.
Ooh, off-map use on the T-34. These double Panzer Grenadier squad forces off the Flamer Pioneers, or the Flamer.
Whoa, that looked painful.
Pioneers.
Panzer IV is behind enemy lines now, wreaking havoc, sent the 2 snipers packing, and takes out that Flamer squad. Tier 4 is now almost up, and in a couple of minutes we are probably going to be seeing a Tiger.
Ooh, I'm hoping to see that Tiger in some proper action. He's going to munch on those T-34s from the Soviet player all day long. They're no match for a Tiger from the German army. And we do have a second T-34 actually producing right now, and that P4 actually did hit that anti-tank mine on the bridge. So now it's got a destroyed engine, and here comes the T-34. It does have the backup, however, from the double Shrek Panzer Grenadier squad from SunAngel. So the 2 snipers are gonna have to lay in some hurt. Wow, he actually drops one of the Shreks, and it loses the entire squad. But the T-34 is actually losing out to the Panzer IV because of those Shreks in the beginning of that engagement. So he's actually forced to retreat with that Panzer IV, but the new one is on the field, so hopefully he can finish the job of what the first T-34 couldn't.
The drop Shrek is dangerous, though. He's going to need to try and pick that up as soon as possible. The Tiger is building now, but it's going to be another couple of minutes before it hits the field. I don't think he's going to be able to come to the rescue of this poor P4. Oh no, and it's abandoned!
Ooh, and the Pioneers actually took 2 losses from the splash damage. So they couldn't recrew it and maybe get it destroyed. Now it's actually going to sit there. There are some Grenadiers coming in. He does have to fight off one of the sniper teams who retreats at 1 man. I think that the Soviet player has played well with his 2 sniper teams. They are really what is laying in the hurt on the German player's manpower income, I believe.
He's kept them alive for a long time, plugging away constantly. But this could be a real turn of events now, although the German player has been in quite a dominant position for most of the game, despite those snipers. Now he's got a Panzer IV he can pick up, he's got a Panzer Shrek he can pick up. This could spell disaster, but the Tiger is now on the field, rolling out across the train tracks. I mean, you know, even if he does recrew that Panzer IV, 2 T-34s and a Panzer IV will still get munched and spat out by a Tiger.
Yeah, the Tiger is far superior to all of this medium armor on the field. As you say, even if the Soviet player would steal that Panzer IV, I'm not even sure if 3 tanks, especially not if they can't get a nice circle strafe off. But he could potentially maybe sacrifice one of the T-34s to ram the Tiger. That would probably take it out of action. And then the 2 medium tanks, as long as they get some form of infantry support with the snipers, for example, so they can force off the Panzer Grenadiers and the Grenadiers from the German army, maybe then they can take out the Tiger. But without that happening, the Tiger is going to, you know, basically just demolish anything that comes in the front of him when it comes to medium armor.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I think he's definitely going to need to use that ram ability. So the P4 is stolen now. It comes back with a whole bunch of lovely criticals, so it's going to need to be repaired before it's good for anything, rather than just being a dead weight in the middle of the bridge. But as soon as it does get repaired, it's going to increase the size of the Soviet players' tank armada significantly, and give him quite a nice main battle tank to boot.
That will put him in a total of 3 medium tanks, that stolen P4 and the 2 T-34s, but at the same time, we do have another engineer squad has actually been rebuilt. He did lose both of them in the mid-game, so he's been forced to rebuild both of them now, just to get some repairing on his tanks. You can't afford
Grenadier goes down to snipers in the north. He tried to chase after them, and he paid for it with his life. 2 guys were sniped on retreat, but here comes the Tiger. He's out for blood. He wants revenge. This could be horrible.
Let's shut off on them.
The spotter goes down.
Retreat.
That's got to be our lost sniper, surely.
He's going to have to run past the LMG grens in the center.
If he survives, no.
There he goes. I think I actually got killed by the hull MG on the Tiger or something like that.
Here comes the conscript squad, armed with a Panther Shrek. But he's not firing it. He gets marked target popped on him. This could be really dangerous. 18A goes in, as well as the Shrek. The Shrek bounces, but the 18A gives the Tiger a damaged engine.
Looks to me like the Soviet player might sacrifice the P4 here. He's running forward with it. At the same time he's repairing, it does get taken out by that Tiger tank with a damage engine due to the 18A now. The T-34s are left alone, or the 1 T-34 to a double Faust, and the Panther, or the Tiger, could now potentially just chase that T-34. Both of them very slow due to the damage engine, however.
This Tiger is just starting to blitz through now. He crushes the Panther 4 carcass. There's still no AT guns. There's just that one Shrek, really, for proper AT. Here's the other T-34. He's come to make a nuisance of himself. Is that a ram ability? He has popped ram ability. He's ramming the Tiger, and there he goes.
Oh!
It destroys the main gun, but it doesn't actually do too much else. It damages the exhaust and damages the engine, but the Tiger is still able to back away.
It will keep him out of action, however. He doesn't have a main gun on the Tiger right now, so he can't finish off the T-34s either. Even though one of them is completely immobilized and doesn't have a main gun, the other one has a damaged engine due to the double Faust from the 2 Grenadier squad. But we do have a 3rd T-34 right now, so he could potentially go around on the flanks, and as long as he gets these Pioneers, the sweeper Pioneers from the German player, away from the Tiger so he can't repair it, that might actually be a good engagement for the Soviet player right then. If he takes out the Tiger with a T-34, that's a huge win.
Yeah, well, if he can just keep the... Oh, there's an off-back coming down on the damaged T-34s here. Whoa, my goodness! A whole conscript squad gets blown away. There's literally pink mist. There is literally pink mist. The mist was pink. The T-34s, however, managed to escape relatively unscathed, or just as damaged as they were before, anyway. Yeah. Oh no, the Tiger's about to get his gun back. Yep, there he is. All criticals repaired. This spells doom for this conscript squad.
We do have the conscript squad with the stolen Shrek trying to lay in some hurt, but that Tiger, as you say, have his main gun back. Now 18-8 goes in, Vet 2 conscript squad tries to retreat away. The Tiger is not focus firing on it, however. We do have a new conscript squad out.
Double 18-8 again going. Crew shock now. Unable to move or fire for the duration. Gives him a chance to open up with the Panther Shrek, but he's just taking so much damage now from this Tiger, and now the P-Gren in the middle. Oh no, he loses the Shrek with the conscript squad.
That was a Vet 3 conscript too, I think. I think they just got Vet 3 from doing damage to the Tiger, and he loses the new conscript squad as well. At the same time, we do have an off-map used from the Soviet doctrine. Fair propaganda artillery, which seems to be pinning and slowing these Grenadiers right now.
Oh, there's another off-map coming in now. It's a strafing run, I believe, pinning all of this infantry that was trying to repair the T-34s.
The one that actually rammed that Tiger is with quite certainty going to be taken out now by the Tiger.
Boom,
there it goes.
One of those tanks gets
it's
abandoned. Oh wow, where did that T-34 come from? Straight
that was
around
the
the
third
rear.
one that he
Oh
built.
no, destroyed engine. That's bad.
That's not even just bad, that's kind of devastating actually. He wanted to use that T-34 to get up on the rear armor of the Tiger, but the Tiger now actually outspeeds that T-34 because the Tiger only has a damaged engine, while the T-34 actually has some heavy engine damage, which is kind of like a destroyed engine.
Oh good lord, there's a second Tiger on the field. I didn't even know you could do that. There's a second Tiger rolling out,
Oh, yeah.
a fresh one.
You can get 2 ISU 52s or 3 even if you wanted to. I think actually I did that in one of the 2v2s that we played.
There's just
got
no.
3 of them.
I did not realize there was no hard cap on them. That is insane. So here it comes. I think this is going to make the Soviet player shit himself because he has no counter for this. Not even a little bit.
No, the Soviet player is still building T-34s from his Tier 3 building. Yeah, I guess he can't really afford teching, and even if he would tech and build Tier 4, for example, it would take quite a long time for him to get a dedicated AT destroyer like a Su-85 from his Tier 4 building. He might lose a conscript to get 3 on retreat. No, the Tiger does actually isn't able to reload in time, but that T-34 with a destroyed engine, those Tigers are just playing
now.
with it.
That was brutal. So there's 2 T-34s abandoned. I think he's going to try and recrew one of them with an engineer squad here. I think. Nope, he's going to ignore
right
it.
now, I think he's more.
No, he does get it back. He does get it back. But now he's going to try and repair it and just hope that the Tiger doesn't move forward just a little bit and see it.
Not sure. It looks like the gun is aiming there. I think it's actually attack grounding, trying to hit that abandoned.
The flare was used up here in the north. There's an MG42 that was placed up in this shack building to cover the VP, but now a Gren squad has flanked this Soviet sniper. He could actually go down here. One good burst and he's going to go down.
The Grenadier guy with
now he's got a hell of a gauntlet to run. He's got to get past this Tiger.
That might be problematic. He might be sniped on the first shot. There we go. Tiger sees him, actually misses, just runs past the explosion. That's a sturdy sniper.
That is, wow. Strong woman.
Very, very sturdy. Plenty of T-34s now for the Soviet player again, especially since he got that abandoned one in the center reclaimed. There's still the potential of getting the other one on the bridge, but there's a Tiger guarding it. And they still have 2 Tigers to fight off. That's way too much for T-34s, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, he absolutely needs AT guns really. I guess he could, theoretically, he could ram both of them, take out the guns and engines on both of them, and that would actually leave the Wehrmacht player, or the Austria player, with very little in terms of actual fighting force. And he could just, it doesn't really matter. If the Tiger can't shoot and he can't move, he's not dangerous. But
then it's basically taken out of the action temporarily. So.
Yeah, and then all you need to do is just use the third T-34 to keep all the support away. But even so, that's a tall order.
Yeah, it is a very tall order. We did have an MG bunker go up at the center VP, and the Soviet player GuruSkippy is trying to reclaim it because he is down already to 50 VPs. I think that is mainly due to him being triple capped, quite a lot of times during the game. We do have an off map. It's an IL-2 Sturmovik attack. Used in the center here.
A Veterinary conscript is probably going to go down in the middle to this Tiger. Nope, he's going to escape. Oh, more IL-2. Wow, that thing really chews up infantry.
Yeah, he almost destroys the bunker on his second go, actually. The bunker is very damaged right now and on fire. And he's taking another turn. Oh, the Grenadier goes down and the bunker gets destroyed.
Tiger, oh my god, that Tiger just launched into the air.
Yeah. The Tiger actually almost ran over the T-34, but the second Tiger is here to reinforce the first one. He doesn't have a main gun. There's 2 T-34s firing on it right now. The Soviet player is basically going for broke right now. I do believe he just tried to use the ramming ability on the second one, but yeah, here we go. He's trying to ram the second Tiger as well. Oh, destroys the main gun and the engine as well. But the first T-34 gets taken out by, I don't actually know what killed it.
But the first T-34 was... Yeah, because both Tigers had no main guns, so...
They were both rammed.
I have no idea what killed that. Maybe a T-34 accidentally shot his buddy? I mean, this is what I was talking about. Both Tigers are out of the action. There's no real infantry support. All he needs to do is prevent the Tiger from getting repaired. But it is so close to getting fully repaired now. And as soon as it does, it's going to be game over. With both T-34s in such a poor state.
The Ostia player needs to actually just put his Panzer Grenadiers in the center now, kill those combat engineers, and there's a one-man sniper team. That's basically it. The T-34 is trying to hit that Panzer Grenadier squad to get him out of there. He did have a Faust go in, I think, or what was that actually hit? Does that Pioneer squad have AT weapons or something? I don't get it.
I don't think so, but one of the Tigers has got his
Oh, it's got a
88mm
gun.
back.
The second Tiger actually got his main gun back by getting repaired, and we do have the Soviet player giving up right. There was a bit too much of heavy German armor for his poor T-34s. It looks kind of funny if you zoom in. The Panther basically just eclipsed the T-34 completely. It's so small, that little pea-shooter tank, compared to the heavy German armor that is the Tiger.
Yeah, it was a great game. Some really lovely tank battles. It's good to see that the magic of the tank battles has not been lost with the move to KO2. The Tigers versus T-34s, exciting as always.
Yeah, very, very nicely done by both players. We did have actually, I don't know, maybe 5 T-34s, maybe more, because he recruited 2 of them. So, you know, there was quite a lot of Russian armor as well. But I guess with the Tigers on the field combined with the 2 Shreks, I think those 2 Shreks did the main amount of damage actually to the T-34s. That's what really stopped the Russian player from just steamrolling into the center and then using a ram on the Tiger, for example, and then take it out with his remaining T-34s before the second Tiger hit the field, I mean. It was really those Shreks that kept everything at bay.
Well, Panzer Grenadiers are definitely strong units. Maybe it'll be a new metagame. Shrek spam. Hopefully not. That was always horrible in the original. Well, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment. We do love to hear feedback. Let your friends know and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys.